Hello, hello. We're live on day 71 of 365 consecutive days of live streams and or videos, pre-recorded videos. And I'll always let you know which one you're watching. So today I have been chomping at the bit to tackle this topic of modelling. Now, I say tackle this topic of modelling. We have only got a few minutes together and there's so much more I can say on this subject, as well as teach on this subject. And it's one of the ways that many people can really get lasting and positive change. But I want to start off by just explaining what I am not talking about. So for those of you who remember the days of the supermodels, the Naomi Campbells of the world, the Christy Turlingtons, the who was the other one that I was thinking of when I put this together, Linda Christie. Lots of really beautiful women who are still to this day beautiful. Now, of course, how can we forget Kate Moss? I'm not talking about that kind of modelling. I'm not talking about the modelling that I used to do in the early 90s. Catalogue modelling. Couldn't do hand modelling because my hands have always been very wrinkly, very wrinkly. Fashion modelling, all sorts of modelling. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about people pointing a camera at you. I'm talking about a term that is coming to common parlance, for want of a better expression, a term that many people use. And it's very clear to me that when people are using it, that they don't actually understand the roots of where it comes from. So why would you want to model anything? Modeling is a really great way to be able to take on a new skill. Usually it's one of the best ways to do something that you've never done before. So if you're new, it could be in work, in life, in business, and there's something you want to do, you can model it. The other thing is that the topics that you can model are vast. Now, the roots of modeling actually stem from something called neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. And this was where people were able to do great things. Let me give you an example of the power of great modeling. Imagine being dropped into the middle of the world somewhere, surrounded by people with a different culture, different skin tones, and different language to you. And within 2 days, being able to converse with them conversationally, fluently, through the power of modeling. Imagine not being able to do something well. Let's take a topic such as cooking. Some people love it and thrive in it. Some people relish it. And other people absolutely detest it, don't want anything to do with it. And I often meet people who aren't very good at it, but wish they could be better at it. So let's take something that you're not very good at and want to be better at. When applying the tools of modeling really well, it will give you the ability, the capacity to do the thing that you want to do at a level or at the same level that somebody else who's really great at this particular skill can do. So modeling is not about copying. It's not about emulating. It's not about watching what somebody does and thinking, I'm going to do that too. That's something different. That's maybe an idea or the motivation to do. But what modeling truly means is something that I learned throughout my NLP journey when I first of all, turned up as a student, curious with my senior management hat on as to what I could do to inject NLP into the current trainings that at the time we were rolling out within financial services. I'd read a lot about it. I'd read many books about different tools and techniques. I'd attended talks. I'd met people who were very senior in the NLP industry. And I was baffled and fascinated by how somebody could take on, such a quick trajectory, such a quick transformation to do something so cool. And, this wasn't just about the professional development or the personal development. This was about people breaking barriers and things like this. And a true fact is that at the time when I started studying NLP, I couldn't swallow tablets at all, like in any way, shape or form. And I actually used a project on modeling to help me to be able to do that. It was fascinating. So it can really turn things around, all sorts of things that people don't think about. So today I want to talk about it in the context of being visible and having more visibility within, it could be your business or could be somebody else's business. Maybe you work for a company and you know that it would be better if you could become, say, a better marketer. If you were the marketing manager or head of marketing or senior within that company, if you set up a project, a true modeling project, you could have people emulate what you do in not only the same way as you, but then to grow it to be even better in a way that has alignment, has synergy with you. It's a really powerful tool. So I wanted to share a little bit about it today. So recently I was speaking to a really great friend of mine who I consider a peer in the industry. And we were talking about the way somebody was executing a training that they were giving. And they said to me, I really like that they did X, Y, Z. I'm definitely going to model that. And it just got me to thinking what some people think modeling mean. And, let's face it, let's grow ourselves and develop ourselves around this word so that we can all be the best versions of ourselves, so that we can all do the best in the world, rather than giving it a bad rap. So here's just a very small example of what modeling can do. So we're going to talk about modeling for competency, and this is where you want to have a skill. So let's say that you are a business owner, a founder, a consultant, a speaker, an author, or that you're a senior marketing professional in your business. Maybe you're an HR professional in your business, or maybe you're a sales professional in your business too, senior, junior, or anywhere in between. And there's a skill that you would like either yourself or somebody around you to have and to hone and to deliver in a better way. There are a number of different ways you can go about it in terms of competency. And I'm just going to talk about a couple of different things that you can do to be able to have the competency that you so wish, that you so desire. So the theory behind modeling isn't the copying of somebody else or something that they're doing. It's actually to be able to reproduce a skill or a quality in a way that they embody and they can then go out and do equally successfully too. Now, this doesn't come from watching somebody else. It reminds me of that song, How Much Is That Doggy in the Window? Pressing your nose up against a window and looking through will not get you the skills, because there'll be elements of this missing. So the first thing to look at when properly modeling a skill, is what does a person believe to be true? Now, I come across this a lot when I run the Confidence on Camera course. It's only over 12 days, and it builds consistency in doing something that helps people to be visible, whether they're already confident or not actually. But one of the things that's important for me to convey, and I tend to do this on the Q&A and mentoring calls because it's easier to do it in that way, is an understanding for the participants of what makes not just me, but other people that are confident. What is it that makes it worth doing the skill? Could it be that you attract more clients to you? Could it be that you attract a better reputation? Is it that you are motivated and excited about what you do? Is it that you sell more of what you do? It can be lots of other things. And those of you that have gone through the 12 days will know that day one, the thing that I give you on day one actually helps me to help you in this area. So what a person believes to be true. When we talk about beliefs, sometimes people think I'm talking about a religion or something like that. But what is it that makes that particular skill worth doing? And if there's something that you want to do, maybe you want to speak a new language, maybe you want to learn how to cook, maybe you're sick and tired of being single, maybe you're sick and tired of being in a relationship. What is it that makes the thing that you want to do worth doing? So with my tongue kind of firmly in my cheek, when I kind of said, well, maybe you're already in a relationship and don't want to be, what you'll be modeling is not how not to be in a relationship. What you'll be modeling is a way to have a conversation that might feel difficult. So it's worth identifying the actual thing that you want to do in the smallest slice Otherwise, it's too wide, too vague, and therefore really difficult to do, which is why when I often see where people are looking at what somebody's doing. Oh, they did a masterclass and then they did this thing and then they had a 3-day event and then they sold this. I'm going to do that too. This is why it will very rarely work for you without those bits and pieces. So what is the skill? What is it that makes the skill worth doing to the person? This will give you the motivational indicator and the motivational belief to pursue the thing so you don't fall off the wagon. It's again the reason why people say, oh, I tried it, it was too exhausting, didn't get any results. And then you delve deeper into what they believe to be true. There's a whole piece that I could do on this. I could actually deliver a workshop on this and take people through it so they come out the other end with the competencies to modeling. The second thing to look at, which a lot of people miss, is what state of mind, what emotional state does a person need to be in to do them? And in order to do that, it's best to actually have a conversation with that person. Now, this is of interest to me because sometimes people will say, oh, I was watching and I wasn't ready to jump in. And I've had people go, oh, Jenny, I love that you're doing that. I'm going to model that from you. I'm going to steal that from you. And they'll literally in their language say that. But what they don't get is what I believe to be true to do it, why it's important, and it could be in alignment with what they're thinking or slightly different, which means that there's a few twists of the Rubik's Cube to kind of get it aligned. They don't know what my emotional state has to be to perform the thing. And one of the things that I see a lot is the anxiety piece, which is why I talked about it a few weeks ago in terms of visibility and anxiety, because that for a lot of people gets in the way. That's not something I have. And if I am about to, I don't know, deliver a talk and I'm running the anxiety wheel as well, I need to know how to move that out of the way. Otherwise, the talk isn't going to go well. It's going to bomb and people will feel it on another level too. So it's knowing about kind of the approaches and the emotional state. The other thing that people will miss are the internal thinking strategies. So you might think, oh, well, this person is looking at doing this thing. You know, Jenny is doing 365 days of videos or live streams. I'm going to do that too, but I'm not going to do it on a Tuesday and a Thursday, for example, because I have whatever. That's not the sort of thinking strategies we're talking about. We're talking about an in-depth deep dive of why somebody does something. And I remember one of my mentors, when I started working with them in 2013, they had a curriculum, they had all of their work lined out, and they would teach that to us. And on the Q&A calls, quite often, people would say, I was reading about doing A, B, and C that you talked about, and I tried it and it didn't work. Or I did this thing and I didn't like it. It didn't feel right to me. And they would almost be questioning the mentor on the things they did. But instead, I was always curious to say, when you did X, Y, Z, and this is a skill that I want to enhance as well, I would ask them different questions. And a lot of the time when I ask people questions, they genuinely say, that's a great question. Or other people in the room will say, that's a great question. Now, the myth behind that is, oh, well, you're a visibility specialist. You're just trying to be Billy Big Balls and stick your head above the parapet so that you're, you know, remembered, or you're just asking a question so you can stand up and speak on the mic. And actually, none of that's true. One of the things that I value so dearly is when people have a skill or have a way of thinking that's different, that's unusual. I really value the opportunity to speak to them, to find out, like, just, you know, a modicum, a little kind of insight into how do they think to be able to do this thing. You know, I remember a couple of months ago now speaking to Wim Hof of the Wim Hof method about ice baths, and he was talking about ice baths connected with endometriosis and pain management, and he was speaking about it. He got quite in depth and then stopped and went on to another topic. So my question was aimed at, well, kind of, I wanted to know more of what you were going to say. And I asked him, and it was interesting that when he shared about pain management and ice baths, What I could also hear was his strategy, his thinking strategy. This is a guy that's created this, a guy that's researched it, a guy that's worked with like thousands of people in lots of different vices with ice baths. So wanting to know just a little bit of the thought behind it and understanding the thought behind it by being close up and personal is really beneficial. For me, it was a few stolen moments at an event, a live event. But with my mentor, it was working actually in the container of a year with that mentor. And I went on and did more stuff with them, and having that open door to be able to ask, so what do you do? And one of the things I think is really sad in some communities is that often communities are formed around the head of somebody, like heading it up. And this happens in organizations too. Somebody heads it up and it's not do as I say, it's do as I do. When actually the most effective way for great leadership and great change within an organization, within business groups, within masterminds, within coaching programs, is to have everybody, and this is really the concept of the mastermind, to have everybody be able to share their thinking strategies for the things that they're great at. What a great opportunity when you get a group of people together and they are all, they're all proficient in something. They've all got skills in something or more than one thing to be able to do this. I see this a lot in a world that I'm not really a big part of, but I get an outside view in the tech industry, specifically in info security hacking. And the way they share their knowledge, their thought processes, is really something there to be modeled in the true sense of the word, not copied, modeled. So what somebody is thinking, how they approach it, what they do after the first thing, and really going into the minutiae of the step by step will give you so much more. And even when people are on podcast interviews, I've been interviewed before where, people have been picking my brain on the interview, which is part of what it's about. But the questions don't go deeply enough. And I'll often explain the method to my madness, as the expression goes, and explain the steps there. And some people will catch what I throw out, and some people it will go over their head. And that's okay, because we're all at different stages of learning. Then the next thing to do is like the behavior that they demonstrate. In HR, I know we talk a lot about, and CIPD, people that have been to the CIPD route, we talk a lot about skills, knowledge, and behaviors. Well, in order to do this, if you are, putting together a training course, you don't want the training just to tick the CPD box. Yes, they've done the training. You actually want people to behave differently afterwards. I'm not talking about mind Jedi tricks or hypnosis, although that's another route too. It's just a different route. It's about putting on a program and having people be moved, be changed, be transformed to do something else. And one of the things that a lot of people don't share, and I'm excited because I've just recorded something to be shared in the High Impact Visibility Club, is that they don't ask the right questions that delve deeply into finding out what changes are required. I would say a good 60 or more % of people don't do that, from what I've witnessed and where I've been in boardrooms, or where I've been on sales calls, or where clients have come back to me and said, oh, just did this sales call and it didn't seem to work out too well. And when I ask the questions, it's like a glaring gap. So knowing what is the marker of the change of behavior in a succinct way enables the person to model and demonstrate how to do that. And then the other thing is, how do you practice? Because for a lot of us, we're learning life skills on the court. There are lots of different ways. And anyone who's been a private client of mine will know that I share a few things that I'm sure a lot of the Olympic athletes have been also doing as part of their preparation, as part of their training. And that's ways to rehearse things, and to not just rehearse it, but to actually make the changes and make the tweaks where possible. So if they're going from A to Z, they might make a tweak at B, they might make a tweak at D, or they might not make a tweak until they get to L, for example. So it's knowing how to do that well. And it's a lot, I think it's a lot quicker to teach than it is to explain it, but explain it I will. So those are just a handful of things and a handful of ways in which you can use modeling. So the next time either you say it or you hear somebody say modeling, the best tip that I can give you, and as it's Tuesday at the time of recording this, why not give out a Tuesday tip? The best tip that I can give you is to get clarity on specifically what is the thing that you want to do. If it's too broad a stroke, you're going to find it very difficult to then acquire at least those 5 things to be able to model and get the information that you need to do it with success too. Hopefully helpful. If you're listening to this and thinking, I'm intrigued, I want to know more, I have literally just opened up the doors to the High Impact Visibility Club. It's a members club, and I've made it a really easy yes for people. It will be conducted online. You will have places where not only can you share your things with each other, but you can speak to other people, some that might be in your industry and some that might be outside. It's a easy monthly membership. And the price will change after I've got the first 100 people in. So already people are starting to sit up and prick their ears. And really the premise of this membership is a micro membership. So even though the price, quite frankly, seems ludicrously cheap and is ludicrously cheap, I've made it an easy yes for you. I've also made it at that price point because what we'll do is we'll focus on consistency around your visibility. We'll do it in a fun way. There'll be some surprises, nice surprises along the journey, and you'll get to delve a little bit deeper in ways that you can model things, but in a way that works for you. So I can't wait to watch you create your own high impact visibility through this very micro mechanism. If you would like to join, just send me a message wherever you're watching this or comment below and just say, what can we put? Club. Put the word club and I'll send you more details. But for today, this has been day 71. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to have you in there, especially if you are an expert in the thing that you do and you're looking to have a higher impact on your visibility too. Can't wait to see you in there. Bye for now.